Hello, people of the Earth. Welcome to the, I guess, say, ending vlog for March of the Atari, which we've just done. Da, 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 da. Ooh, 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 ooh. And it's all thanks to this beautiful thing. And should I? That seems the appropriate part to kiss. But yes, I wouldn't have done this month at all. I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't. But I would have found something to do, surely. But I'm so glad that, you know, ever since I saw this collection actually come out, I was very, very wanting to do it. Like, it would have happened probably last year even, but it didn't, because I suddenly realized Bomberman Hero is a thing and I can make a month out of that. That revolves around it of sorts. And because there was some good games for the N64 that I did enjoy as well, and I'm glad I did that one, although like I said, this is probably one of my more favorite ones. I enjoyed doing the PlayStation, and I definitely enjoyed doing the Dreamcast. But yeah, because the PlayStation months, we had some complications there. I've still got the CD. If anyone is a channel historian, I've still got the CD that doesn't work. Just waiting for an American console to land in my lap. But yeah, no. This has been as fun as the Dreamcast one, for me anyway. Yeah, because it's made me, you know, I have already had an established base of, like, I don't need a good story, I don't need good visuals. All I need from a video game is a video game. I want gameplay, you know, story, and even sound to a lesser extent. All of those are additional little bonuses for me. It comes down to the gameplay, and this has helped drive it that point even more so. Like, unfathomably. I didn't need story, I didn't need plot for any of these games. I just wanted the gameplay out of everything. And as I said, this collection here, this is the expanded edition, so I made sure I was going to get everything out of it. And I filtered through 150 games to say, yeah, that one's going in, that one's going in, that one's not, that one's not. But there were so many, it was really hard to like make that decision in the first place, to nail it down to 30 games. And I know we had some reoccurring games for like different consoles throughout the course of the entire month, but I just wanted to see the variety. So that was that reason, and also it's because I really like those games. You know, I never played the Centipede version for the arcades, but now I can say I have. It's definitely a little bit different from its console counterpart. Before I go, we've got the notepad of knowledge here. And he's going, I've listed every single game that I've played throughout this entire month, and I'm just going to talk very briefly about them all, and hopefully we'll get it done in about an hour, because that's how long I've planned for this. But I've got a few final more interesting facts along the way. This month has been, I've turned into an edutainment channel, and I'm sorry for that, but it's like, this is before even I was born. Some of these games were coming out, and I'm old, as one might say if they were 6 years old or something, I don't know. But, flipping, many, half the stuff here I didn't even know. I would pick this up. Sega are, as much as I praise Sega, they need to really, if they're going to release a collection of games, because they've done numerous amounts of that many times over, either for Sonic games in general or just Sega games in general, like the entire collection, even the one that's for the Switch. That you can get from the whatever it's called, like to pay for it and whatever every year. What is it called? I don't care. But yeah, even that collection, this it, it pales in comparison to this. Like I said, it's over 150 games in total with the expanded edition, but you already get, I think it's about 100 or more so than that with the standard one. And also, not only that, but you get the whole museum thing. And it's so fascinating. You get to hear from stories from the developers and the people behind the scenes and all that stuff. And you can just learn so much. And there's cover art, and there's, you know, like flipping, they've got the code in there for one game. I forgot what it was, but you know, there's just so much in there. You can learn so much. Because, like I said, this is the grandfather of the video games. We wouldn't have any, or they would be very different if it wasn't for Atari. But to build that foundation and make video, I just love the concept of them introducing a brand new form of like medium as entertainment wise. Because before then you just have the TV and the radio, and you know, not even the internet at the time was being used very publicly or anything, but they introduced a brand new form of entertainment. And I think I said on one of the videos that we recorded over this month that it was like I loved one of the advertisements for it, because you weren't advertising a console, you were advertising a concept. It was like, don't watch TV tonight, play it. You're like, what? So imagine being in that era where you're suddenly getting a whole new form of entertainment. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Mind-boggle. Man, that timer's going real fast. I'm keeping my eye on the timer so I don't run out of time on the old camera. But yeah, but this is all worth it. You know, you get a lot of it's educational in itself, but it's fun to learn, because especially if you're keen to it, if you're into retro gaming, or if you're into just being an Atari fan, recommend. And this is out for everything, not just the PS5. I think it's out for it's out for the Switch, and it's out for the Xbox, and it's out for the PC. It's out for everything. So get, if you've enjoyed this month and you've enjoyed some of the games that I've sampled, then there's about 120 more. Is that, have I done the math right? Yeah. So yes, that's my introduction out the way for the whole thing. But it's been a pleasure to play through, and I've played obviously more than just what you've seen, or from this collection as well. On that front, I am going to do a little bonus live stream. Coming back into regularly scheduled programming as of tomorrow, but not necessarily. I'm going to have the first week off. Well, it's going to be Monday now, isn't it, when this comes out? So tomorrow you won't be getting anything, but on Wednesday I'm going to have a chance, and I'm going to stream for however long. I don't know when exactly, but it'll probably be the same time I do a Dreams live stream, because that's all happening this week. We're all back. But Wednesday I'm going to stream this probably around 8 o'clock UK time, and then that'll be, what, 9 o'clock Germany, and then what is it, 3 o'clock US Eastern. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. So about 3 o'clock US Eastern time, and then 8 o'clock in the UK, and etc, etc. And I'm going to stream this for 3 hours like I would Dreams. And then Dreams is obviously coming on Thursday, and then I'm back to weekly live streams as well. It's all coming back on Friday for that one. The weekly live streams are on Friday, maybe. I don't know what we're playing on that one. Probably more Death Stranding. Need to get it done. And etc, etc. But I'm happy to do a stream of this, so come and join me. and I will play some games that I have played for the month and show them off a bit more. Because I know there's a few where I've been like, I haven't been very good at these, but now I've been playing them, so now I'm actually kind of good at these. So yeah, who knows what we'll get up to? I've got 150 games to play, but I obviously won't cover them all. But we'll see if you show up on Wednesday for me live streaming that. I'll reiterate again, 8 o'clock in the UK, and I'll probably go for 3 hours. So yeah. Well, that being said, so I haven't got the disc in there right now because it's still in the PlayStation. Now look, it gives you the entire lists. If I take this out, one second. That is your list of games right there. Can you see it? that is an impressive amount. It looks like a goddamn dictionary. But yeah, that's the entire list of games for like everything. So bonkers, it be bonkers. Now let's move on to talk about every single individual game. Oh, for frick's sake. I'm putting this in the right way around. There we go. He's all good. Brilliant. What was I going to do? Yeah, here we go. Hello. So the first game I played for this month was Breakout, which I didn't really have much to say. I'm going to try and get a quick opinion out of each one, but I don't really have much to say to Breakout. It's not a game I haven't not played before, and probably not a lot of people haven't played before. So you know the deal. But it was fun, frustrating but fun. Asteroids, always a classic. We had a lot of classics starting off, didn't we? But hey, you can't beat them. It's just a pity there's a few games on this collection that aren't present at all. Like you're missing a few of my favorites actually. I was hoping like they would be tucked in there somewhere, but we're missing most importantly Space Invaders, and we're missing the E.T. game. No, I'm just kidding on that one. We're missing one of my personal favorites, River Raid. I was hoping that was on there because I definitely would have played that. And we're also missing another game, I believe it's called Crossbow, but my memory is hazy on some of the games. I remember, if anyone can actually tell me what, I might look it up before this comes out, so I might already know the answer, but just in case I don't, there was a game I did play for the Atari a lot, and it's not in this collection, and I don't know the name of it, but to describe it, it's like you were like a UFO type ship in the air, and you would fire down projectiles on targets on the floor, and the maps would be different. Like on the ground, you'd have like different elevated bits of land, and then the enemies would be like situated on the floor, and you'd have to destroy them all before you moved on. And sometimes they would be like between little gaps. There would be a little gap and then a room inside with the enemy in there, and you'd have to get your shot through the little hole into there, and the enemies obviously would fire back up at you. But I really enjoyed that one. I don't know what it's called though, but from that description, hopefully someone can tell me. I don't know what it is. I might find out myself, but it's kind of hard to Google anything when you're just using a vague description. But I'd love to know what that one is again. But we did get Lunar Lander, a game that did teach me the old patience game, and it doesn't show all the time my patience, but I do have it. But yeah, no, I love Lunar Lander. That was great. Yeah, I thought there would be another version of it on this collection, but they've only got the arcade one, so. But that's not the one I played, but still pretty good. We had Missile Command, which is again a game that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of, but I thought I'd put it in because that's a famous game. Not necessarily I have to be good at it for it to be famous, but also I'm not really that big of a fan, because technically it's shooting. Technically. And I've just said I owned a game that I really liked about shooting, but that was a little bit more simplistic for little tiny me. So, yeah. So no, but Missile Command, and also it's a bit scary, really. If you think about it, really. The haunting game over screen with the seizure-inducing colours. We also had Berserk, which I enjoyed. It was a game I've never played before, and I thought I would just check it out, because it's one of the first games to use voice work, as I've said. You know, synthesized voice, but a voice nonetheless. And I thought that would be cool, and the concept is my kind of game, and I aim to get better at that, but you'll probably see that on the stream, maybe. I'm coughing. We also got one of my favorites, Centipede. I'd never played the arcade version of Centipede, but yeah, it's one of my favorites for the 2600 for sure. But the arcade one's really good. You know, they've encapsulated, because my first experience was one for the 2600, so, you know, camera. So yeah, what was I saying? Centipede. Yeah, the arcade version is obviously visually better looking, but they've managed to cram the same contents, the same kind of gameplay into the 2600, because of course arcades will always be more superior than the console stuff, at least at that point in time. But you know, they managed to recreate it, and it's one of my favorite games for the 2600, so I'm glad that's in there. I'm like, if they don't have Centipede, I'm gonna wail on someone. And then they also had Millipede, which is a game I didn't play, but I would have loved it as well as a kid, and I do like it now, for sure. It's a firm favorite for me, both the arcade and the console version. And there's a multitude of actual Centipede and Millipede versions for each console. I think there's one also for the 7800, or there's one for the 5200. One of the later ones anyway. Not the Jaguar or the Lynx, but definitely for one of those two. Yeah, we also got Super Breakout, which I actually enjoyed a lot more than the regular Breakout, so it definitely lived up to its name and been super. But yeah, and all the different modes there are quite cool, quite unique, if you will. So I enjoyed that. We move on to the 800, where I played, which is a PC essentially, but I do remember playing a game similar to Miner 2069er. But I enjoyed that one. It's a good challenge, you know. Early platformers back then were, like I said, you had to have balls of steel to play them. But Miner 2069 is a fun challenge, and I don't mind how it plays at all. There's an ice cream van outside. But yeah, it's all good. I thoroughly enjoyed that one, and I want to obviously get more further into that game. Then we move on to the obviously 2600, the best one going, with Adventure. Like I said, that when I'm reiterating a lot of stuff, but hey, when I first heard about it was in it should actually be here. I first heard about it in the movie Ready Player One, and I'm like, what's this Atari game? I've never heard of it. Because you know, when the Atari came out, I was little. I couldn't exactly do anything to do research on anything. I was just whatever I got. So you know, and then Sega came into my life, and it was just like, what's Nintendo? Don't want to know about anything out of them. Still don't. There it is. Nah. I first learned about it in this. When they have to find the Easter egg thing. And I'm like, I want to play that now. And now I finally got the chance. And It didn't overwhelm me too much, not gonna lie. But I can see why people can enjoy it. It's an interesting little game. We got Crystal Castles, another favourite of mine, of course. Teach me to become a collectathon you know and love today, and haven't turned back since then. Because I'm like, collect everything, collect everything. But yeah, really good game. Asteroids again for the 2600. That one I have to apologise for, obviously, for the visuals on some of these, because the capture device didn't exactly. Out of my flipping arm. No, it didn't exactly come through very well. So I apologise for that, for ruining that kind of experience. But I wonder if they'll show up on the stream, because I'll happily play the games that messed up with visually, especially flipping Centipede. But I'm keen to see if it'll actually show up, because it should show up, right? It should. Right? Right? It should. You see what I see. And I saw everything. Except on the capture, you didn't. So, who knows? Something to worth checking in for the stream for if you actually want to see the asteroids for the 2600 in action. We're like being able to see everything at once. If it should work. It should work. I don't know why it wouldn't. Same for Centipede for the 2600, again the game that I played probably the most for that. Absolutely loved it to bits. We got Save Mary, which was an unreleased kind of like unfinished game, and then they've kind of remade it for this collection. But like I said, this goes back to me wanting Sega to, like, if Sega are going to bring out, I'm messaging you, Sega, if you're going to bring out another collection of games, put a museum in as well, or release some games that you're working on but never actually finished, and, you know, just reunite with your developers. And you know, if there are any like unfinished stock, because of course this came along from the Save Mary was a product of the video game Crash in the early 80s. That was still before I was born, so that was 83. But I'm not that far removed from being born from then. But yeah, so you know, everyone stopped production of the video games, and then they left some on the table, but they've come back. And I thought I'd play a few of them, because you know, no one's ever seen them before unless you've got this collection yourself. So I thought that would be an interesting thing to do, and I actually quite like Save Mary too. It's a very interesting little game there. Yar's Revenge, need I say more? That's all I need to say. I know how popular it is and everything, and how iconic it is, and I dig it. I'm fine with it. There's nothing to complain there. Just, again, they didn't come through very well with the capture. But again, another reason to come into the stream on Wednesday. And see if it looks any better. But yeah, we got the reimagined Yars, and that's what it should look like, except obviously worse in terms of visual action. But that doesn't matter. Nowadays, the visual aspect of the old Atari consoles are now like an art form for the indies. So it's like, I don't know. It's become its own genre. So yeah. Where are we? Yeah, so Yar's Revenge. Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. Especially when we got into the later levels, that was turning into more of my kind of game. Like having to stay on the ball and stay away from the homing rocket and everything. Dark Chambers. I actually really liked that one. And then we played the other one for the 7800, and that one was even better. I really like those games. Camera. Where were we? Oh yeah, yeah. Dark Chambers, just very, very, very good. and I plan to obviously play a little bit more all the way through them, both versions. But the 7800 one was definitely obviously superior, but it's a little bit too easy, I found, but still an enjoyable experience. That's what's important, right? The gameplay. And then, of course, we played Adventure 2, which didn't come out until 2005. I've played a lot of modern titles, and I shouldn't be. I'm very naughty, but I thought it'd be a nice bookend for if I put Adventure and then Adventure 2 for the beginning and the end of the 2600 era that we went through. And that's all of them right there. But I did like Adventure 2. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Very good. Quite a bit. Keen to see if I can get any further on that one. So, yeah, I've torn all these in advance. Keep them on here for now. Pretend I've still got them on the notepad. Now we move on to the sordid affair of the 5200, which I only played 2 games for, because in this collection there's not a lot, because it wasn't one of Atari's big successes. But yeah, what was I talking about? Sega, yeah. I suddenly trailed off from that, didn't I? I guess go back to that point, flipping. When I was talking about St. Mary, I was saying that Sega, when you make a collection of games, make a little museum of like your history. So like your origins and your successes and your failures and your bad side times and your good times, because that's what was all in this collection as well. Is that, you know, they talk about all the pluses, but they talk about all the minuses as well. That's why the 5200 made me remember what to say. And we all know what Sega's blunder would be. Probably the 32X, or yeah, at least, and then the Saturn to a lesser extent, and maybe the Sega CD. But yeah. So talk about them. Make a museum in your collection of games, and make more games in your collection. That's how you do a collection. I'll buy it. I'll probably buy it anyway, but I'll buy that one definitely. Frickin' yeah. But yeah, I only got 2 games out of the 52. Star Raiders, and I have got better at that. I literally. I was still playing it after the recording, if anyone's watched it, and instantly figured out how to actually travel to where you want to go in the game, instead of just flying through endless space. Lo and behold, it took me like the same probably amount of learning time in No Man's Sky, when we were just flying through space and it was taking forever to get to the next planet. And I'm like, oh, there's a faster way to get there. There's a faster way to get to places in Star Raiders, and it's like, you know that map that I show you where it's a grid and there's different things in the grid? If you actually select the grid and then you do the movement with the stick, you can actually move a little dot onto the grid and then select where you want to go. And I'm like, oh, I wish I realized that sooner. So I'll probably play Star Raiders again, so I can get more into it, because I can see how fun it can be and how successful. Like I said, it was the killer app, so I'm like, I must play it. For a not so successful console, to have a killer app on it, it's going to be good. And so I want to get more into that. So we may play that on Wednesday, so I can actually show you. So, you know, when the ships are attacking whatever they're attacking, I can go directly to them and we can blow them all up or something. But I do plan on, yeah, showing you, because I literally learned how to travel around more conveniently, let's say. So, worth the repeat, which is why it's what, slowly as we went through this month, I'm like, I could stream some of these games just to give them that little bit more love than they got in this collection. Because ironically enough, I didn't picture it, but every game turned out to be half an hour, and I'm okay with that. But like I said, some of them probably needed a little bit more attention, but I had scheduled everything to be half an hour, and just to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to show favoritism, so everything's going to stay half an hour in the end. But I can show a little bit of favoritism on the live stream, obviously. or fix some errors that we had, some bumps in the road, so to speak. But yeah, so Star Raiders is definitely one of them. Bounty Bob Strikes Back, the sequel from the Minor 2069. Yeah, that was a good challenge, and I'm keen to see if I can go any more further in that. But it was that was turning into a much more harder experience. But I don't mind that, Mr. Patient over here. I don't mind that at all. I kind of like the challenge in a way, and also we can cheat this time because you can actually do the whole, I think you can rewind the footage like you can in every game, and so if you messed up, you can just rewind to a point where you were cool, or you can save the game and then it's like a quick save and then a quick load, so you can, if you messed up, you can just go straight back and, or do that or something. I don't know. But yeah, so. But I want to try and do it. But in terms of time for the channel, it's kind of convenient to do that kind of thing. So I'll probably be doing that on Wednesday as well. The 7800, a much more bigger success. Like I said, with the Dark Chambers, that's very good. I'll probably play more of that. Ninja Golf was an interesting one. And it messed up. This is, as I said, the most cursed video in this entire month was that one, because as I said, I recorded the game, then found out the footage for the first 15 minutes that I recorded was corrupted, so I couldn't use it, but I still had the face cam footage. So I watched the face cam footage and then tried to actually recreate it right in front of you. What I was doing for the first 15 minutes, and that bit of footage that I recorded for the last 15 minutes kind of synced up with it. It was kind of good, so I did an okay job. Yeah, and then I accidentally deleted the intro that I was supposed to give as well, and so I had to redo the intro. So yeah, the most cursed video in terms of having to re-record stuff. That was it. But otherwise a great game, great concept, golf and ninjas. But yeah, I do like it. That's quite a good one. It's got a cult following and now I'm part of it. All hail the ninja golf. And we also played Fatal Run because I'd made an error, because I thought sorry, I coughed. My throat. I need to have a drink. I haven't had a drink since starting to talk, and I should be having one. Luckily the camera's about to give out, so I'll have one, and I'll have one now. Okay, I'm fine. Where were we? Yeah, Fatal Run. I did a floor because I put Scrapyard Dog down for the 7800, and then I realised I don't actually have a game for the Lynx to play, and I've got an interesting little thing about that in a minute. But yeah, so I thought, let's have a racing game, because I haven't got a lot of racing games on here, and there are racing games on this, so let's use one of them. And so I decided on to play Fatal Run. I decided to play Fatal Run, and it turned out to be an okay game. I was fine with that. I mean, all of them are, none of them are terrible per se, but they have their fluctuations. But for a game that I didn't actually plan at all to show in the collection, not bad. Not a bad game at all. For an old racing game. And a bit of like shooty car combat as well, even though you're not supposed to. I was confused over the whole scoring method. It was like, don't blow up the cars, but they're blowing themselves up even though I'm not shooting them, and then I lose points because of it, and I lose out on money to get improvements from my car. Why am I buying weapons if I don't want to blow up anything? I don't know, it's a confusing concept or whatever. But yeah, so we did play Scrapyard Dog, apparently the superior version, so maybe that was a good thing in disguise, for the Lynx. And I have an interesting thing to say about the Lynx, because obviously not many people know what the Lynx was, but it was obviously in competition with Sega's Game Gear and Nintendo's Game Boy game. And I looked up on how long it actually was. You know how big the handheld actually looks, because from the pictures that I saw, I'm like, that's really small. But surprisingly, if you want a size comparison, I did look at my tape measure here. Can you see it? No, not yet. And left it on the size that it should be. It's about that, yeah. Yeah, it was there. But it's this big, like in terms of like how long it is. And I know you won't be able to tell from the screen here watching it, but I have another comparison to make, and it's going to shock you. For a handheld made in the early 90s, this is my Nintendo Switch. Oh look, it's almost as big as it, if not just the same size. Only by a small margin. Obviously the screen was a little bit smaller and stuff, you know, but it's about as big. If you have a Nintendo Switch, that's how big the Lynx was, and it had the buttons and the joypad or whatever on the sides, and then the screen in the middle. But it was a box. So yeah, that's how big the Lynx was. Almost about as big as my head. I'm picking up some distress calls. It's one of those old phones, you know, we have to lift the aerial out. Hello. But yeah, that's a fascinating idea. Now I can actually retract this and use it for more other practical things. I've had that out since playing flipping Scrapyard Dog for the Lynx. But that's how big it was. So, yeah. Why did it fall off? Because it was more powerful than the Game Boy in terms of visuals, and it, from what I hear, didn't actually consume all your batteries. It needed less batteries than the Game Gear. So how did it fail? I guess it was because it just didn't have enough support at the end of the day. It was Atari's first handheld, so they didn't know what to do. But then again, the Game Boy was Nintendo's first handheld, and the Game Gear was Sega's first handheld. So, but again, there's flaws with each one. So I think it was just the size of it. Like you had to get your hands around it, maybe. But the buttons are all big enough and stuff, and the visuals are better. But I don't know. I think it was just the support. So Lynx had bad support, Game Boy had bad visuals, and the Game Gear just ate your batteries. It's like, I think it took 6 batteries, didn't it? And then it was just like, let's play it for 2 hours, and then oh, another 6 batteries, please. So yeah, it was a battery eater. But yeah, we played Scrapyard Dog, and I actually really enjoyed that one. Want to get further, need to figure out how to get past the tank, whatever it was. Because all these games now that I'm starting to list, I haven't obviously got the chance to play them at all very much since that point, because they were recorded not exactly very recently from this point of recording, but recently enough for me to not say that I've played them a little bit more. So yeah, because we move on to the Jaguar now, and Club Drive, which I found very amusing, and there's obviously more than meets the eye with that game, and I plan to show you more on the live stream. And I'm interested, again, haven't played it since, but I'm interested to see what else there is there in terms of the racing, because there's actual racing on it somehow. I thought it was just like the open world and collecting stuff, and then I found out there's more in terms of like level design and whatever. And we need to find the Atari headquarters in the game, because that's in there apparently. We got Evolution Dino Dudes. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. I know it's not exactly it's actually frowned upon a little bit for the Jaguar, but I kind of actually liked it. I'm into those kind of games where it's a puzzle platformer. Just the controls I need to get around. If I can change them, because I think you can, then maybe we'd be better off. We'll have to see, because I do plan on thing in. I'm coughing again. I've had a lack of drink. Naughty boy. Now right. Moving on to the final Jaguar game is Tempest 2000, and that one. That's the game that I really actually enjoyed. Like really enjoyed, because I never owned a Jaguar, so you know I'm out of options on, you know what, I can't say I played it because I didn't. But I'm glad that this collection has some Jaguar games that I can sink my teeth into, and that one's just really, 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 really good. So I can see why it was one of the most popular games for the Jaguar, because it's fucking amazing. I think that's the word to use for it. Just pure and utter adrenaline-filled gameplay, and it was fun. So I don't mind, and I like my cube. You can just play the game for me. So yeah, that was great. And then I've got the camera, but we've got up to the reimagined ones, which you've only seen a few days ago now. So I'll talk about them next. Camera. So yeah, the reimagined stuff is Quadratank. I should have played the original. Maybe I will play the original that it was based on the stream itself. We'll see. But it was a very basic game with two little tanks shooting each other. I'm not sure if it was like a two-player only. Maybe that's why I missed it. But this one certainly wasn't, like the reimagining. So we've got all the different modes and stuff, and yeah, I liked the voices. Get ready. Shot. Rocket. Laser. A very good fun game. I can see me playing that with a few friends and having a good time with that one. So yeah, very good reimagined title there. Yar's Revenge, where you got to actually see what it was supposed to represent rather than the 2600 version. So yeah, that was really good. Like I said, I like that game, so I didn't mind playing the reimagined version, and it looked absolutely stunning, and the music was flipping kicking it off, wasn't it? And apparently you can, as I said on when I was recording it, you can switch between that version and the original version. I plan to actually maybe do that on the stream as well. Like I said, there's so many things we can do on the stream with this collection, and I plan to do some of it at least. And then we got Vector Sector, or VCTR, SCTR. But yeah, I think you're supposed to pronounce it as Vector Sector because it's all like famous games that were made with the vector graphics that the Atari used, which is Tempest and Asteroids and Lunar Lander, all combined into one game, and it was actually kind of good. Tough, not easy, because there's a lot there to get in, but we managed to pull through eventually, and I still quite enjoyed it. You know, as long as I don't. People can say, you know, oh, you're only going to find a game good if it's easy or if you can get really far in it. But that's not always the case. This is more proof that that's not the case, because I really did like this game too, and I want to, and I, you know, because people really like Dark Souls. I'm not the biggest fan of it because that kind of combat game is not for me. So I find those games obviously to be exceptionally hard. I have enough time fighting in fucking Zelda. I don't need to put up with Dark Souls. That's enough for me. But you know, people really like the Dark Souls games because they're difficult. They don't have to be, as long as they're good. And I can see why, because I've watched people play them, and I can see why they enjoy them. I like watching people play them. That's fine with me. They're just not my cup of tea when it comes to my gameplay style. I like to figure things out more rather than action-packed, even though there is certain things that I will like that are action-packed, and there's plenty in this collection too that will cover that. I do like those kind of games, but you know, not all of them blend well with me. You know, it's like it's just a matter of opinion. But I can acknowledge at least that, you know, they're popular and they're good, and people like them for general most part. So yeah, but there are some stinkers out there, but we know which ones I don't like for that front. If you're a channel historian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like some games I just can't absolutely stand anymore. Um, so yeah, that was Victor Sector again. Really hard, but I want to learn it. I want to get good at it because it's really interesting. The whole shooting the asteroids and then landing down on the floor and then going along the strip and then shooting the things around the circle. It's all very good, and then repeating it and then going up to the next level, onto the next wave, and doing it all over again. That's really good. Just the cycle keeps it nice and flowing, and it's not becoming too stale too quickly. So there's just more stuff happening every so often just to keep you engaged onto it. So that's great. And then of course we had Neo Breakout, which is what my computer is currently saving because I'm saving these all. It's been really, obviously I haven't done any or much editing for these games throughout the collection, but I've been sort of like having the chance to, because they have been half an hour, it's kind of been a blessing because then it takes less time to save them, and I've been like saving a game almost every 2 days. Some days I've not had the chance to and kind of missed, but they've been fairly quick to save as opposed to something that's been edited for half an hour or something that's been longer than half an hour and been edited. Zelda. Those take fucking forever. And yeah, so I've been able to save more than one game sometimes on one day, and then like I said, I'm recording this probably about how long is it before this comes out? Probably in about maybe like 6 days. So yeah, and I'm already finished saving the last game. He's busy saving back there, Mr. Neo Breakout. But I really like the idea of that. That's reimagined, and I can see a lot of fun again with friends with the versus mode on that one. Even though, like I said, once the field's on your side, you're kind of fucked. And it's a fight to the battle. It's more of a struggle. But hey, I guess that's why you need to get the advantage. And I don't know how the AI kept getting the advantage, but he did. It's still, like I said, a fun challenge, not one that's like putting me down and making me feel bad or just giving me a bad experience overall. It's a fun thing to try and pick up and play and get better at. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, that's all that. So, I think that's everything I've got covered for this month. All in good time as well. Yeah, it's kind of dark outside, and I got the light blaring at me right now. So don't know who's out there looking at me doing this, but whatever. Hello. I've got the screen for protection. Yeah, but no, it's been a really good month. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's made me not just back up my claims, but sort of reinforce them as well and cement them in place that I don't give a shit about story, about music or sound, about graphics. Well, fundamentally, those are all secondary. Sure, I would like some games for the story. They help carry it on, and there have been some games where the story makes you go, oh, why do I need to do this? So trust me, they're out there. Luckily, I haven't bumped into a lot, but yeah. But the story is nice. I would call that a second thing to have, but gameplay for me comes first, and this month has helped cement that. And on Wednesday, when I stream this again, that would definitely be the case. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this month as much as I have, although who knows. But if you want to get in on the action, like I said, this game is out for every goddamn thing, so I would get it. It's worth it. Even for the standard collection. If you want the extended, go for the extended. And then my camera's going to give up one more time. But yeah, Definitely worth it, I would say. You got 150 games in there. Sure, they're not like AAA standard for today, but hey, if you don't mind that, if you want pure, utter, unadulterated gameplay from the majority of the games in this collection, even if it's to check them out, because that's what I've been doing for the most part, just having a little look and going, oh, okay, cool, and then I'll come back to you, or I'll just put you to the side and you'll be down the line. I'll play you. But I do plan on playing everything in the collection. Don't get me wrong. But there are some favourites that maybe go, ooh, I really want to play this. But yeah, the games I chose for this month are the ones that I felt like needed to be in there for sure. And I've, as I said, thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been all about the gameplay this month. And as I said, this will probably be the last kind of themed for a company or console for this month. Because it's been more or less about 10 years now, maybe a little bit more than when I started this whole idea in March of playing, retro gaming. Just for the months in itself, and I'm still happy with the name I gave it. It's fitting because it's in March, so it's the March of the Retros and the March of the PlayStation, and I ill-timedly called the March of the Retros in 2020 the final March, and I'm like, uh-oh, it could be. Back in 2020, remember when I did the final March? And I was like, that's just ill-timed. But again, that was like just before the dreaded pandemic hit us. So not planned to sound bad by saying this could be the last March I ever do, because I might be dead afterwards. But I'm not going to joke about that because that was not a good time. But like I said, probably very ill-named in retrospect. But it really was the final March for the retros, and then we've moved on to the consoles and done March of the PlayStation, March of the Dreamcast, March of the N64, and now March of the Atari. And I have enjoyed every single one of them, bar maybe the N64 a little bit. Yeah, that's all coming back though. We've got Worms World Party coming back from the Dreamcast to be played, regularly scheduled programming. Like I said, this first week I'm not going to do it, but the minute the next week comes along, everything will be back to normal. But we'll be streaming a lot this week. I've already recorded some of the games that need to come out then, so don't worry about it. Don't worry, but like I said, I'm way in advance of getting stuff done right now, so we're all good. What else did I want to say? Yeah, No Mercy's coming back from the N64, of course. We're doing more of that, and more Super Mario Maker, and more, and we're finishing off. I've calculated Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. We've got 3 more parts, and they're all going to be able to fit in to April, and then we'll find something else to do for a little while, and I think I know what it's gonna be. I've already hinted at what it could possibly be, and I want to do it real bad, and hopefully everything will work out. There's one thing that I actually want to bring up. To show you what a good boy I am. Not that it's like anything to brag about, but just on a side note here from everything, not long ago I was starting to feel the pressure from companies trying to suck too much money out of me. They were in error. Those errors have now been fixed. So they aren't sapping money out of my account by a ridiculous amount, and I'm now back to stable ground financially. But I was considering, if I couldn't fix the problems, that I was going to start a Patreon. And I asked the Discord, by the way, you should join the Discord, but I asked the Discord, not that I got a lot of feedback there, but link will be in the description or in my channel page. Go and join my Discord. There's stuff happening. But I asked them, you know, would I garner enough support to pay for these ever so increasing uh, prices, because otherwise I'm going to be suffering succotash. But and I went out consulting you guys because it was the wrong time to do it necessarily. I didn't want to, like, because I was making too many vlogs at the time, and I'm like, I don't want to throw in suddenly a Patreon right in the middle of March of the Retros or March of the Atari, as we've just been talking about. Um, so I set up the Patreon. In fact, I set it up, but every moment I was setting it up, I was sort of fighting it to not do it because I don't want this to be my job. I never ever want this to be my job. I want this to be my hobby. I want this to be me being me in front of you guys, enjoying video games, having a laugh, having a good time. I don't want money from this. It feels wrong. I want to be working. I'm doing my book. I'm working, you know, outside of this. And I would rather earn money that way. That's just how I tick. That's how I'm wired. This I just enjoy because I enjoy it, and I don't mind doing it for absolutely free because it's something that I've always enjoyed, just playing games, and now I get to play games for people to watch. You know, because I've done it. Like I said, I invented the Let's Play before the Let's Play was a thing, because I was recording gameplay of me, and then I was watching it back because you know I had nothing better to do back then, back when I was the kid that I was. But or I would show my friends the gameplay. You know, so I was doing this gig way before it was cool. But you know, so I always envisioned myself doing this kind of thing, and there's no signs of it stopping anytime soon. But yeah, so I haven't actually officially set up the Patreon page, and high chances I probably will never do it. I will never get it finished or show it to you or whatever. So, but yeah, because it just wasn't, it just isn't me. I don't want to earn money for this. So that's that. So I don't want to have to restart the camera again because I've been talking for long enough. So I'm going to thank everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed me ranting and raving about the Atari, but I hope you've enjoyed the month, and I will be streaming on Wednesday, as I said, this game. We'll see what we can do just to end it off. It's not completely over yet. See what else I can muster out of this and show you, and we'll have a good time. That'll be on Wednesday at 8 o'clock UK time, 9 o'clock Germany, and 3 o'clock US Eastern time. And I'll be streaming for about 3 hours with this little delight, and then we're back to regularly scheduled program from them, with dreams on Thursday, regularly weekly live streams on Friday, as always. But yeah, we're back, so I'll see you however and whenever. Good day and goodbye. Very good.